There. Now you should hear me. Do you hear me? 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. My voice should be there now. Yes. Yay. Oh my gosh. And I had this working last night. Everything was set. All the cameras were up and running. Logic this morning, I ran it and it would not send the audio. The channel would show signal, but it would not go to the output. And I don't know. That was the weirdest thing. So we're running Ableton Live to do the audio today. I was going to use Reason, but Reason wanted to scan all 700 plugins, and I was like, no, don't do that. All right, so everything's working, right? No sound again. It was just watching the live stream. You guys on the move. Thank you. Ah, cool, lab. Well, come out here. We'll go golfing. I'm like a quarter mile away from an incredible golf course. All right, so welcome. This is the second live stream from Eagle, Idaho. And it's been wonderful here. I like it here a lot. I don't like that the computers and, there's a lot of work to do in getting this room set up. It's so much work to get sound treatments and all that kind of stuff happening. But anyway, yeah, refresh the browser. It worked. I heard. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. I hope everybody's getting working. Thank you, Shane, for helping out. I think Taylor is here as well. Yay, guys. Welcome, everybody. So, it's been a quiet week because we had Super Booth a couple weeks ago. Everybody kind of had all of their big crescendo of showing what they were working on at that event. And so I haven't seen anything. Hi, Pure Galaxy from Oregon. Good to see you. I haven't seen anything this week of note show up. Have you guys seen anything of note? All right, Lab. I will be up there. I'm actually going to be. So we'll be in touch for sure. You're right. Yes. Yeah. So how am I doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. My mom had her 82nd birthday a couple days ago, and I got to tootle around with them and spend the day shopping at Costco and loading their car and carrying things that they can't carry because they're 82 and 85 and needed help, and that's why I'm here. So I'm really glad to be here, to have a nice place to live. Athena, you want to come here and say hi? Come here. Athena, come. Come here. Athena wants to say hi, so she'll say hi to everybody. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Let me pick you up. Oh, such a big girl. Oh. So here's my dog, Athena. Hello, everybody. How you doing? She's a very good girl. Love her very much. All right. Yes. So things are good. I've got an idea for a library I'm working on that's really, really cool. That will be probably not at my birthday. We'll see how it works. But my birthday is on the 16th. I think I'm going to need a little bit more time to get this done. The yard's mostly fenced in. She doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't take off, so I don't have to worry about her leaving. There's a space at the front. I'm going to put a little fence at some point to fence it in, stuff like that. Senior house tour. Yeah. It's a big, nice house. I'm very happy to be here. It's great to be working on stuff again, getting back into the flow, getting creative and stuff like that. I'm really glad to be by my mom and dad. They've given so much to me for so many years. With starting at age 4, my mom taught me Yamaha music school when I was 4. So I learned rhythm and ear training, which has helped me greatly. They had a music store and they let me have any instrument to play with. So I learned to play trumpet and French horn and saxophone. The organ, my mom taught piano and organ lessons, and the Yamaha Electron festivals became a big part of my life when I was a kid, working up a prepared piece to perform. And then there's an improvisation part of the event here. Basically, Yamaha used to do this thing. They don't do it anymore because the organ market has pretty much disappeared. But in its heyday in the 70s and mostly in the 70s, early 80s, maybe some a little bit, when organ sales from Yamaha, they were doing really well with their Electone series, which got to be really complicated with aftertouch little melody keyboards on top of 2 manuals and a full pedal board to work with. And my mom she had probably 200 or 300 students here in Ontario, Oregon at that time. And there'd be probably 30 or 40 that would enter these festivals that Yamaha would host. And it would start with local, and then you go to regional. And if you won at regionals, you'd go to the nationals against the other 3 top players that had won in the different regionals. And my mom actually had numerous students get to the regionals, to the finals, and actually had one that went to the international competition in Japan. He actually got beyond her level of training, and he would actually drive up to Hood River to a woman that would give him lessons and keep pushing and teaching him and stuff. And he's a wonderful person, wonderful friend of mine now that lives in Nashville. So, they've given a lot. So I'm glad to be here and be able to give back to them. I'm going to be leaving after this live stream to go to a barbecue birthday out at my mom and dad's house. So, all sorts of good stuff going on. And I wish I could tell you all the cool things I've been seeing that Shane is working on for UniFi. You guys are going to love it. We are working on some really fun things. We're doing our synergy where he has an idea and it bounces off me and I put more into the idea and then it goes back to him, and then it's just some really cool things. I think it's going to really get some people excited. And so I can't say anything else at this point because we're still a ways away before we can show it and before we can test it and all that kind of stuff. But there's some nice things coming to UniFi in this year that I'm really excited about. Now, for today, I wanted to cover basically 2 things. We've got the lesson series that is a series of tutorials I have done. All 6 of those videos are now on YouTube. So if this is playing, so let's pause this. If I open this up as a new tab and we go over here to the Plug and Guru channel, if you'll see, there's now all 6 lessons, the full length lesson 1, and then there's excerpts from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I wanted to make sure each one provided like a full tutorial of something. I didn't stop them in the middle of something. I wanted to make sure you could get a full, it was like, these are like one-tip topics in a way. So, but they continue with more information if you want to buy the full tutorial series at the website. And it's available for 2 more days at its introductory price. So if we go over here and we go Plug and Guru, make sure that I'm not logged in. Yeah, it's logged out. So if we go over here, so here is the video series. Thank you. Let's go back. It's right here on the channel. Let's see. Let's go view toolbar. Never shows. That goes away. Its retail is $59 for the 6 lessons, but it's on sale for $39 at the website. So that is available for you. Please watch those videos if you want to learn more about UniFi. The free ones provide some really useful, helpful tips. The mono to polyphonic one will show you how to get a free synthesizer called the VK1 that you can add to UniFi, and yeah, it's so alive in here. The sound just travels forever and comes back. So hopefully after this coming week, I think I will have the curtains up. I've got some heavy duty, two layers of curtains coming for the entrances to box me in a little bit more, make this a little bit more of a limited room. It's a cool room. It's got a cool angled ceiling, and it's got it's nice. So it'll be nicer once we get the sound treatment better. So I'm sorry for the extra ambience and stuff like that. There are so many questions. Okay, well, ask a simple question, the question that's relevant and helpful to everybody. If it's too in the weeds of a question, I might pass on answering it. But on top of showing you that, and then I'm going to show you the 7 libraries that came out in May over the last, let's see, 2009 to 24, like 20. I'm horrible at math. I used to be good at math, but I'm not so good right now. But anyway, over the last 16, 17 years, I've released quite a few libraries, and I had Taylor help me get a Google Calendar that lists all of them, their dates that I released them, and what year it was, so that we can celebrate their days, because each one of them deserves to still have a day. I mean, so much work. These are like kids of mine, so when it's birthday time, I want to celebrate their birthday, you know? So, because they're each really cool in unique ways. And so this month for May, I did a $20 blanket price for everything. I'm not going to do that next month. I didn't realize until I got to today. Today's special library that's on sale for $20 is Mega Magic Guitars Volume 1 for UniFi. It's an $82 library, and it's available right now at the website for $20. So it's 269 patches. Next month when I do these, this will probably be like $30 instead of $20 when I do the disc. I'll figure out what the percentage is. But this I did just a blanket. So some of these libraries are a screaming deal. This one in particular today is a rather nice screaming deal. But to start with is Percussa. So I'm going to show these. Here. Will that list be shared? Pure Galaxy, which list are you talking about? Oh, the list of birthdays and their release dates? I don't think I'm going to release that. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Lab is a friend of mine that lives in the Portland area. And in one of my videos, I said I went out to the Oregon coast. And that was the clue that he's like, are you in Oregon? And so, have I looked at the problem with the sample bug in the trio library from the strings? Yes, Planet CJ, I think that's an error on our part that we will fix. It was a sample missing that Shane has fixed, and I'm in the process of replacing the full library with that and stuff like that. Anyway, but we'll cover each of the. I bought the libraries and was never mind Noisebox. You have no under every library the video examples. I bought the libraries and this is never on your radar. Well, Noisebox, I can't. I'm sorry if you didn't see it when it came out. That happens. But Noisebox is one of the libraries that we'll get to that when we get to there. But we're starting with Percussa. So let's do this. Let me make this to a single layer, and let's go to Percussa. Let's see, we got to go to Omnisphere. Now this library exists as a unified library when you get it. So if you go down here, it's actually 2 different libraries. One for the multis and one for the drums, because there's just so many patches I decided to split it into 2. One is of all of the patterns that we created, and I'll show those in a second. Let's do the multis first because these are more fun. And there's 102 of these. These are incredibly cool. These are, we did like cinematic library. Let's see, let's get this to be a little bit wider so I can read everything. These are grooves. Like if I call this up, I think we have these. Oh, it's not seeing Omnisphere. Huh, okay, so if you see this error and it does that, we can fix that. So let's come down here to Omnisphere and take a look and see what we see. Omnisphere. Omnisphere is Omnisphere. I have the VST3 showing, right? So that's why it's not seeing the VST2. So go over here, select plugin files to scan. We go to the VST folder and we say Omnisphere. And there it is. So it scans it, adds it to the list. Now, when I call up this patch, it will not have an error message anymore. And it will play. So this is a rather interesting library. For those of you into cinematic, dance, kind of stuff like that, this is a library that's really fun. And it's so useful for everything. Everything needs to have cool alternative percussion. And this library is all about alternative percussion grooves from synthesis and from samples that were in super macho drums that we brought over here. And Omnisphere, you know, Spectrasonics as a company, they have Omnisphere for the synthesizer pads, keys, leads, stuff like that. Then they have Trillion for bass, and then they have Stylus RMX for their grooves. And they're very, very focused on not making groove things happen in Omnisphere. So because I'm a third party and because I don't have to follow the rules and stuff that they try to follow and so forth, they do more rhythmic stuff now. They still don't go anywhere close to what this is. This is 8 layers, or in this case, 7 layers of Omnisphere playing samples and using the arpeggiator as the sequencer for each of the layers. So you can get into all sorts of things. And then when you see the kit, this is all those sounds that were made for the groove. Let me get the keyboard up so you can see it. They're now play a note and it just plays the samples. So you can play and sequence your own things, whereas the groove is everything with the arpeggiators turned on, playing the groove. So this library, it was available for $20. I'll give you I decided to do a special thing. If I was going to do this, I was like, well, I can't show these and go. And it was $20 4 days ago, and you missed it, right? All of the libraries I'm showing you, all 7 are $20 right now at the website. So if you still want this library and you don't have it, you can go to the pluginguru.com website and any of the 7 libraries for today. Just for, well, maybe Saturday and Sunday. I'll do Saturday and Sunday. And well, they'll be $20. So give you a little bit of window of time for those of you that like to watch after the live stream has happened. These are all available at their birthday prices, okay? So here's Better Than Reality. As you can see, some have synth parts, and they transpose. And they program mod wheel. So some do have bass parts. And if they do have bass parts, I tended to let them transpose on the keyboard while the percussion stays and doesn't transpose, so you could play them and do things. We added extra things after the library came out. This was kind of fun to do. Module brings up tambourine. My favorite, I mean, there were so many of these that were really fun. I did this in combination with Airwave, which a lot of you will know from Airwave Volume 1, 2, and 3. And my friend Xenomorph, who did the library that we released for, what is it? Not Spire, for Spire, which is a really cool library. But let's see, one of my favorites, where is it at? It's like 100 beats per minute. Here, Shadow of Death. I absolutely love this. I heard this used, actually I heard something similar to this in a video game, and I love the groove so much I modeled it and then took it further, but Mod wheel. Tom fills. So cool. And so what this is doing is this, well here, if we were to like, the release and the LFO envelopes and stuff like that that I was using, they keep ringing out. So if we open this up and we were to call this up inside of Omnisphere so you can see what it looks like, go to the multis, and then you go to all Spectrasonics to the user directories, and that's where it shows up in Percussa Volume 1. And let's go here to the Shadow of Death, right here. And you say yes. And so it loads up, it's only 4 parts. You'll notice it doesn't sound as good as it sounded inside of Unify when it's playing all 4 parts. When it gets split into separate channels, for some reason it gives it a little bit more dynamic range and depth. But you have the kick. So if you go over here, you can look at the ARP. And I'm using velocity to get the clicky, snappy stuff. And you hear the delay kind of like on the edge. That's because I have, if we go over here to the patch itself, and we look at the envelopes, this LFO is changing the delay emphasis. If I bring it to be a little bit stronger, you'll notice when it gets to the top, it's going to really feedback now. So you can play with some of the parameters to alter how it's doing different things on the sounds. I found the emphasis right here on the delay X2 does like a tape feedback thing, which is great. And then let's go to layer 2, see what that's doing. This is the tom fill, so you don't hear this unless you bring up the mod wheel. It's just sitting there doing a fill the whole time. But if the mod wheel's down, you don't hear it. 3. This is this big, really cool scraping sound effect that I first got, I think it was this one of those that I did on the M1. We had an M1 that died a long time ago. And then there's a clave rhythm. And it pans. So it's simple elements, but it's the elements that work together. That's the key, is to find things. They all interact in cool ways to make the groove. So they show up inside of Omnisphere in the multi-mode. And then if you were to go over here and say, Steve's feeding back. If you say init and go to layer 1, and you go to user directories for Percussa, it's hundreds, because I gave you all of the samples, bass drums, the snare drums, the hats, everything's available as both the individual hits right? Like if you went over here and you turn on the ARP, and if we were to go over here to layer 2, I think we actually have to go to the multi and we have to turn on stack mode so that we can play more than one layer. So that turns on the other layers. Go to 2, and let's go to Percussa, and let's say a bass drum. And then let's turn on the pattern. I have a bass drum type pattern. So you can build your own grooves. Let's go to 3. Now, if you look at the menu list, you'll see that there's high, BPM low, and BPM mid. So it was basically high would be like the tambourines, shakers, things of that nature. So you can kind of decide what you want. Like I want another mid. So let's say let's add this to layer 3 for the FM clowns. And then for 4, let's go over here to the high. And I'm calling the BPM patches instead of the singles. If you call up the singles, there's an arpeggiator you can just turn on if you want. So all of these elements, there's like 500 elements. It's crazy that you have access to. I put in here whether they're tuned or not. It's like if we want to layer 5, and we've turned on Omnisphere, but we only have 4 layers. If you want more layers, you have to right click here and say, where is it at? Enable add part 5. So we add part 5, it lights up. So I'm gonna go to 5 and I can call up one of these that said tuned. So we can go up here to these and like, Now, why don't I hear it? Let's see. Because just a little hit. So we're on 5. Let's find it be a little bit bigger. Oh, these are all my attack elements. All right, so that's nice and loud and plumping. So now. So you can play them all together if you want inside of Omnisphere. But again, check this out. If we go Groove, Shadow of Death, and we play it here, just as a comparison. Let's do it here. See if it sounds the same. See how it's just a little bit more. Because I'm using 4 different Omnisphere now, each part is on its own audio thread inside of UniFi. It just gives it just a little bit extra teeth. So it's really cool. All of these have this happen to them, you know. Here's Happy Orbit Fairies, which is really cool. And if you wanted to use these in a composition case, just right-click on the top G8 for all of these. And let's have it stop at B. So I've made it a split, so I could now go to the standard library and I could go to a BPM synth, let's say, and let's say right click on, let's say Polybox. This is a fun wave sequence. We can say add to UniFi as a new layer. And then all I need to do is go up here and say you stop at C so it doesn't play the low parts. And now, and it's really loud, so hold down Option or Alt and turn everybody down so that you're not killing your output. And off you go. So it's really easy. That's a little too soft. So that's Percussa. It's the most aggressively complicated library we ever did for Omnisphere. Nothing else comes even close. There's like 700 patches in it. All of those multis and all of the arpeggiators for each of the layers to work is just crazy, crazy, crazy. So that is one of the libraries. The second library that we released in May. Here's the layout. So Wednesday we released Noisebox. This is a drum loop library that I did in 2001 originally. And it is the one Daniela's upset that I didn't tell her about, but sorry, Daniela, now you know about it. This is a library that has 495 UniFi patches. This is native to UniFi. You don't need anything else but UniFi. And the basic concept is that for this one, I made elements and then they all work together to make a groove. Right? And then I had different variation, breakdowns. And then I had each of the elements. The snare, and then the tambourine. And then you go to the next one. And I think there's like 40 ones that I did like this. Peaches. Is there a UniFi version of Percussa coming? That will be a lot of work. Sorry. We might do that at some point, but that's a library where we use a lot of the parameters that are in Omnisphere to do things to the samples and to make some sounds not even using samples, but just using stuff from Omnisphere in some cases. Very rare. Most of it was sample based from that. But it would be a lot of, I don't know if we'll do that. I don't know. I might sample it and like turn it into an RX library because I could do that fairly quickly. But all of those elements and all the patterns and stuff, that would take a long time to do. That's why we have so many other rhythmic libraries. So I'm showing you another one, and this is for It's not for Omnisphere. This is for UniFi only. This can't happen. The Omnisphere can't play this. It's just not capable. So you have all these grooves, PCH. Some of these use a drummer. And then I added additional stuff to it. So this one has a real drum loop. Out of fill. Breakdown. Wait, oh, this is the full loop. Okay. Then there's B, C. Here's the drum kit loop that I used. Played by Phil Block. A friend of mine that we lost to cancer, like probably 10, 15 years ago. Incredible guy, wonderful friend. So you can use just a few elements. As you see, when you call PCH up, the full mix, it calls up all 7 elements. And then down below there are all the separates. So it just goes on and on. Some of these are so fun. I love Outpost. I used to have a melody part, little thing that I played on this. And thanks to Unify, we can transpose and you play it like that. So there's a ton of groove elements. If you want shakers, really great shakers. And if you set this to layer, Unify layer mode, all you have to do just randomly click or hit the little dice and let it build a groove for you. And then once it's done that, go to the knobs if you want. And if you go over here to the far right, there's a duplicate links to all layers. Oh, that won't work because these are all, well, they're single instrument layers. So if you hold down, well, there's 2 ways to do this. If you go here, you can say replace with embedded Unify with instrument 1. And that just turns these into an instrument 1 layer. Or you can hold down Control and Option and click. And that's the shortcut to do this magical transformation. Since they're now all guru samplers, I can go over here, I could say duplicate links to all layers, and now, if I go decay, I can decay all of them. I could automate this now. Random timing, you would be really lazy. Speed. If you want to glitch things out and get a glitchy groove. So the mod wheel does reverb, filter, decay, pitch. You know, so you can play with these in really, really cool ways. And if you want to start over, like, that wasn't quite right I wanted, right click and say instrument layer 1. Let's see, do this. Just load the patch is the way to do it first. Will this work? Yes, because it keeps everything else in place. The Unify layer is there. Now if you hit the dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I've added 9 layers. And then hold down your Control and Option or Alt and click this to get these all to say Guru Sampler is what you want it to say for everything because the macro knobs are assigned to Guru Sampler. If it says Unify, then it can't get to that layer thing. But after we do this, we can now go over here. We could say duplicate all links. And have all sorts of fun mayhem stuff happen like that. So there's a ton of stuff inside of Noisebox. It's a great library. Just playing with the loops. Go Unify layer and loops and call it different loops is just super fun. It's really, really fun stuff. So Noisebox is library 2 in the list. The third library that we showed on Thursday was this library. This is String Theory Orchestrator. I bought an orchestrator from a lovely couple in Portland a couple years ago. And that was a wonderful, it's the orchestrator is unique in the fact that it's, let's see if I call up some of these patches I have. See if we get to core, somewhere, do I have core? Yeah, here we go, the Krumar. So if we call up the normal strings and, change the, oh wait, I've got it in the wrong thing. So say Unify normal load, just load the stereo strings. So it has a really unique capability of the orchestrator. This is back in the 70s. It was released, I think, in 77. Each note on the keyboard, let's get to another, let's see, I use different images for each one of these. Let's see if I can get one that shows the whole orchestrator by itself in the picture. So that's close, right? Every note can be played at once because it has a board for that voice. It was one of these unique polyphonic tricks that companies were doing before circuitry and computer circuits showed up to start replicating settings and stuff like that in a digital form and stuff like that. So this is an instrument that has a brass section, strings. It had a piano, which is the very famous one from the, I can't remember the lines for the, I actually had keys in the right place. I can't remember the chords right now, but I learned them at one point to make sure that they played right. And this sound nailed it pretty close. One fun thing with this is that we recorded it both in a single pass and I have a separate map for the release notes you can turn off. So now it sounds like most of your workstations that sampled the orchestrator or sample libraries, for the most part that I've heard, if you play a real orchestrator, it gates the notes, but it doesn't fully gate it and lets them fade out. So right? So we sampled it both once, and then I went through and sampled it again right after sampling it the first pass so that I could turn things into stereo. Right? So you have both the stereo version as well as the mono version. So depending on the vibe of what you want, the monos are the legit, the stereo are a little bit. Because it's nice sometimes to have width to the strings for the pad. And I made sure it's all silky smooth and accurate in sampling and so forth. Then there's all sorts of variations using those samples. You know, here's filter crescendos. So yes, Mega Magic sax. Isn't there a really cool bass sound in string theory? There is, and I sampled it. Let's see if we get up here to the bass. Let's see, in the core. I also granularized everything, as you can see, but Krumar bass is right here. And it's a really cool, nice, big, round bass. I also sampled Korg Mini Pops. And I made patterns, and you can cycle through the patterns here. if you get down to the Z patches, I think I did some BPM splits, things that combine everything. Like low C starts the groove. Kind of a nod to the Gary Newman vibe. So you got things like this to play with that were really, really fun. Give up the funk for the... If you want to do your P-Funk vibes and stuff like that. Oxygen for the... So for the retro fans, get that. Go up here to the bass. Kumar, bass. Add that, but set its range down here at C. Turn down just a little bit. So, all that territory from, I mean, there's so many places the Kumar orchestrators have been used. And so I tried to cover everywhere that I was aware of, as well as other things. Let's see, I did some, if you go to the core, there's also granular, where I sampled them and put them through granular processing. So it's a bigger library than just a Kumar. So for $20, it's a definite steal. So there you go. Next one up is one that I want to talk a little bit about. Beat breakers and OMG drums. Let's see, go over here. Like this. Oh, tricky. You're being tricky. Okay, Beat Breakers OMG Drums is a library for Stylus RMX. And Stylus RMX, so many of us have our RMX still. And this is a library I did in support. We did OMG Drums originally for Omnisphere, and then I did it for Break Tweaker. Okay, it's really tricky. This one's super tricky. So let's get rid of the effects, holding down Option and deleting just to make sure. It's just like this. And let's go over here and say RMX. So we get Stylus RMX up and running. And it won't get any bigger in interface, I don't think, than this. I don't think there's a way. Oh, you can magnify the window. Let's say 1.3. There we go. A little bit bigger to see. Let's make it even bigger. So we go magnify window to 1.7. There we go. That's more like it. I know where Skippy Big Bad Beats. Yeah, Skippy's Big Bad Beats started over here. If you bought, there's a series of expanders from Ilio. Let me give you kind of a full rundown. There's the Spectrasonic side of things. They did Liquid Grooves, Retro Funk, Backbeat, Metamorphosis, 4 great libraries, and then a bonus set of grooves. For the Ilio, who distributes Spectrasonics, Stark Waving Beats is a really cool drum groove library. Ethno Techno is Bashiri Johnson playing styrofoam cups and all sorts of things. And then Big Bad Beats and Noisebox are my 2 libraries that Ilio distributed as my first libraries before I even started pluginguru.com. They were distributing these beats that I had put into recycle format. Eric and myself and the other people at Spectrasonics and Ilio had put together and came up with a way. But back in the day, Stylus RMX, drum loops, we used a program called Recycle. I'm sure some of you have heard us talk about Recycle. It's an app that lets you take a drum. It's an app that lets. Oh, my audio comes back, and I don't know if let's see if I find a drum loop really quick just to show you how this works. So if we go here to sample libraries, I just don't want you to see anything you're not supposed to see too soon. So let's go over here and let's say, who has some drum loops? Drum loops for sale. Well, here, let's go to the drum loops folder that I have. And let's say, just for fun, we're going to open up Def House. And this is 120 beat per minute. Let's see. And I got to move stylus RMX. So what it does is it allows you to take audio files, and by bringing up a sensitivity slider, it senses the transients and puts markers that it's now going to split the sample by those markers. You can have it go carried away and crazy, but there's a process to doing this. Back in the day in 2000, this was not stereo, it was mono. And so to get these samples to work inside of stylus RMX in stereo, we had to create the recycle map, and then we split the stereo file to 2 audio files and applied the recycle editing to that, and then merged the 2 mono samples back to stereo. It was a massive amount of work. So every one of these loops literally had like so many edits and work and stuff. Oh, you're not playing? Why are you not playing? Let's see what's going on. Okay, interesting. Let's see, do I have this? Oh, this is not starting. Did that mess? I'm gonna restart this really quick, because when I started recycle, all right, don't save that. Get back here. And yeah, it killed the audio when we're doing that. So 1 second. Okay, now we're back. So stylus RMX. And let me get a really quick little mastering chain on here. Replace master presets, optimizer light. So the way it works, let's see if we go over here and we try one more time just to make sure we expand our libraries, thank you. Yeah, it's working. So we say big bad beats. We're in slice menu. Let's go to groove menu mode. So we just right? So it plays all these grooves. Well, we did a library that shows up inside of the user libraries called this is Beat Breakers. And it looks like this. It's basically a bunch of drum grooves that you can call up. Gold Tooth. And again, this is following the tempo of UniFi. So if I come over here to the tempo, if I slow this down, it slows down the groove. What's fun with this library, and again, this is a library that right now you can get for $20 if you have stylus RMX. It gives you a whole bunch of new drum loops to play with. You also have chordal grooves, which are really fun. These so you could use this, and then you go to layer 2 and have other things. I'm not going to get too carried away in that. But on top of this, there's a ton of single grooves of just different things of this nature, right? All sorts of styles that are really, really fun to work with. But then down at the bottom are 60 drum kits. And these were really tricky to create because I had to make an audio file that had samples of just the drums as a single sample played. And I'd set it up so that there'd be 2 of the kick and then 2 of the snare and so forth, so you could play these. Let's see, I need to make sure we're just in slice menu. Now you can play these samples. There's 6. I think there's 6 samples per kit. So there's 6 notes. that give you drum kits for Stylus RMX. All sorts of sounds, genres, kits. Killer dubstep. All sorts of stuff in here. And cassette 2 is hip hop. You have to hit stop so that it doesn't. It's kind of tricky to get them to work, but I found a way to get drum kits. Because when you go to the Stylus RMX and you go to the kit mode, you can organize the kits. And I did a thing called the Stylus Power Pack. Right here. Yeah, it's Stylus RMX Power Pack, where you have different drum kits, which are really, really cool. But I can't put my own samples in. This is using the samples that are found. If you go to kick, you'll find that there's just literally tons and tons of kicks inside of the kit modules of Stylus RMX. It's very, very cool. So there's different ways to use this, but the beat breakers is a cool way of, let's see if we go over here. We say multi-kit clear. Yes, I should just go back to multi-mode. Yes, go back to multi-mode, please. And if you hit the little folder, after this library now, the big thing that I did differently is that this library now shows up when you buy it and you download it from our site. There's a Stylus RMX native format folder that has instructions inside of it. Well, up here are the instructions on how to, where to place. Oh, I got this thing going on, so it's not helping me out. So like this, it gives you the instructions on where to place everything, locations and stuff, so you place them. But the Stylus RMX format, it has all of the Beat Breakers library in native Stylus RMX format. The Sage converter doesn't exist anymore, so this allows you to just copy these over and it will work in Stylus without having to convert the RX2 format. The RX2 format files, these you can load into your sequencer and it will map them and play them, and they're really, really fun to put in your sequencer and work with. So I keep the Stylus, the RX2 versions there for you guys to play with. Don't you have a channel through Omnisphere? Yeah. Machine Storm. That. Each of the layers you could definitely tweak out in really cool ways. Okay, and then today we have Mega Magic guitars available. This is a library that retails for $82, so to have it available for $20 is kind of like deal of the month or more. So one more over. This is a library that originally came out for Stylus RMX. No, Spectrus. Oh God, there's got so many names in my head. For Omnisphere, and this was in the early days when Omnisphere was now able to play samples, and it was, I did Mega Magic Pads was the first one that did the samples across as different patches for the different key range. But I figured out how to get these to work to where, let's see, these are glides and stuff. Wait, 12 string right here. There we go. So this is basically, if you were to do this inside of, let's say, add one more layer. If this was Omnisphere, now we have both the VST2 and the VST3 version to play with. I'll have the VST3 version hidden because I don't use the VST3 of Omnisphere. But if you go to the multis for Mega Magic guitars, Mega Magic, do I have them here? I don't have them here. I was not ready for that part of the demonstration I wanted to do. But let's say pads, just to give you an example of how these work. If you were to load up one of these and say yes, it sets up each of the samples that should be, this should all be one sample map inside of one layer. But Omnisphere only lets you have one sample per patch. So each one of these patches would call up one of the samples. And then if you go to the multi-mode and you go to stack, you'll see that I use key ranges to split it so that it was playing these huge pads. And And all sorts of different pads. Like if you get to, Guitartronic would be lovely to combine with Mega Magic guitars because it has a guitar in the sound. So. So, inside of Omnisphere, it required this complicated setup with 6 different patches. And then if you wanted to change the envelopes, like change the release, you'd have to go through each one of the patches, go to the amp, and change the release for each one. It was a lot of work. And so, for the Unify native version, it's much easier because it's just the sample map. Now, each one of the guitars, I sampled up both dry Mega Magic 1 reverb, and then Mega Magic 3 has an octave shift. So they're all lovely. When we get to like the new jazz and stuff, this is from Volume 2. For Omnisphere, I did it where it was just single samples because I didn't have multi-samples. And these were like the guitars. It was pure enough and it plays nice across the whole keyboard. So this, you know, it's cool. And then each one of these has a Mega Magic version. And then for the Unify version, I added a note off effect layer, which if you solo, it's just making guitar noises on the note offs. And you can turn that down or get rid of it altogether if you want. Anyway, it's a lovely library. It should not be $20, but I started this thing and said $20 for each library, so we'll continue. The black hole is really cool. This was a sound I made in Sculpture and then sampled. And the Mega Magic version is really nice. Simon, I don't believe no one has added anything new for Wave State. I have 2 libraries in the works for Wave State. Those will be coming out, so hang on. I can only do so much at one time, and I was moving for the last couple months, so I'm just getting my ship legs back underneath me. There's some cool phrase hits and stuff like that. Right? So it's a great library. If you need guitars, more work, more samples and so forth were put into the newer guitars for Mega Magic Guitars 2 and 3 because now I'm inside a Unify where I don't have these limits. I can have as many samples as I want. So when you get to here and you get to the Jackson Blue DIN mics, it's even more accurate. And then what's really fun with this library is the bliss. So if you add, we had this guitar layer I created of effects that you can add to that. So things have gotten better with Mega Magic Guitars 3 and 4 because I can have more samples. If you open up the guitar right here, all of these samples are used for just the guitar for one layer, and then there's the other for the round robin, and it's just a lot more capabilities in sounding accurate and so forth. So yeah, so those are there. Mega Magic Guitars. Next up is a library by Tim Dale, our dearly beloved Tim Dale. He might be here. He likes to show up for these live streams. That is right here. Saberify. This is his first library for UniFi. And that is here. Saber Sounds, Saber 5, 250 patches. All sorts of really cool sounds. And it's just a whole different personality to add to UniFi. This is available right now for $20. We'll be promoting it tomorrow on the email and so forth for $20, but it's available right now, just so you know. All sorts of stuff. BPM splits. You get here to the BPM synths and so forth. There's right, so all sorts of places to go. Mod wheel brings in sounds. No, Mega Magic Guitars 3 is not on sale. I was just showing that just to show that we have taken things considerably farther now that we're in native UniFi universe. And, well, it is on 40% off. I have a 40% off Hello Summer sale going on until tomorrow night as well. So you can save 40% off Mega Magic Guitars 3. It's just not the crazy one-day birthday sales that we're doing on everything else, right? So let's see. And then, so Saberify just goes so many fun places and different sounds. Leads, pads, some lovely pads. Did a lot of use with different synthesizer plugins that come with UniFi in different ways. All sorts of good stuff. Strings. Really cool stuff. And then lastly is a library that I don't know if we'll even sell any of, because FM8, I think they're doing a big promotion at Native Instruments where you can get FM8 for $19. Let me see here. I think I saw something about that. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Iconic Synths on the Native Instruments website. FM8 is available for $19. So if you don't have FM8, it's great. Razor is another one I would highly recommend getting, because it's just, there's no other synthesizer that sounds like Razor. I did 3 libraries for Razor. Love it. Now, there's a unified version of Toxic FM8. So if you go plug and group FM8, Toxic FM8, this library is $20 at the website right now. So this is a library where I created this probably in 2000. Well, I can tell you when I created it. The birthday date is listed. I think it's 2011. Yeah, 2011. 2 years into my building the website and starting to make patch libraries on my own. I don't even know if Omnisphere had been out at that point. I don't think so. I don't think Omnisphere had landed yet. FM8, I did first the Power Pack for FM8, which is a wonderful library of more normal sounds that are, you know, nice basses. But back then in 2011, let's see, Skrillex had just landed with all this really cool new dubstep stuff he was doing, and people were trying to figure out how he created all the cool frequency content shifts and stuff that were happening. So, I have all these patches where if you open up FM8 and you go to, I don't know if they have a way to see it bigger. I don't think it even expands. That's why it's $19, is because they don't want to support it anymore. So just know it's probably the end of the road for those plugins, but I think they have them working. Notice FM8 calls up in black, which means it's not running in native, it's not running in like, we used to do this converter thing. I think Massive still, Massive X, Massive X is killing UniFi. Okay, I'll save this to get to Shane later. Oops. Got to be careful what you push when you're dealing with that. So, Toxic FM8. Anyway, I came up with all these really fun things using the mod wheel to... and if you look over here inside of FM8, it has this mod page where you can say mod wheel. And if you give it a higher value, then the value diminishes until you use the mod wheel. So, some of these that are at 0, if you bring this down, you can see that you can get the sound back, but I had it. So we made all sorts of obscene sounds. Short. All those kind of things. Cool. So you can modulate the LFO by using the mod wheel to move up and down, stuff like that. So if you don't have FM8, you can get it for $19, and this library is available for $20. So for $39, you can have pretty cool setup. FM8 still is a cool synth. What makes it so cool is that when you go to the operator page, it shows you a matrix of all of the different oscillators, A through F, and then X and Z are different types of saturation and filtering. And to modify to make your own algorithm, all you do is you click and drag to bring up the level between B and F are now connected by a strength of 62. So you could go through here and make algorithms that, if we were to compare this with, let's see if we go here, layer, instrument, and we say DX. This is what comes inside of UniFi. We got permission to include DX. If you spin the algorithm, you can see that it's doing these different layouts, right? But you can't modify it. Whereas, like, the thing that's fun with FM8 is if you click right here and drag and bring up your strength, then I'm combining F going into 2 while it's still going into 4 and 3. So you can do far more complex things in FM8 with FM synthesis than you can inside of a DX7, just because any one of these operators can be sent in different amounts to all of the other operators all the way down the chain. And on top of that, some of these, if we go to the pads, I made some things. Let's see. Don't I have any pads? Did I do pads? Maybe here at the end. Huh. Action pad. Here we go. No. Well, maybe it's in the actual, not in Toxic, because Toxic was this, but if you go to the browser, which is right here, inside of the FM8 Power Pack. Let me just show you real quickly something that's kind of interesting. If you go to like the if we look at the operators for here, this is sending each of the operators as an oscillator down just to the output and skipping everything. So this way it's a 6 oscillator synthesizer. And then I have my volumes here for everyone. If I bring one up, you'll hear it get louder. If I bring these all down, now you don't hear them. Then let's turn on Z. And if I was to instead to route these all into Z, so let's go Z, Z, just really quick so we get some sound. So now all 6 are going to Z. And Z is, let's see if we go here to the Z oscillator. Why don't I see the ops to Z? Here's our filter. And oh, I got to route Z to the output. And now we hear it. So now I have resonance. So I'm sending all 6. This is it's really nice and flexible because you can route things to here, to here's if you want to hear them coming straight out, while also being put through a filter. And then if I want, I can go over here and add some FM. So the power of FM8 is something that really, I mean, they've gotten beyond this now. There's Traction has FM, like Traction Razy, TRARAZK. Yeah, right here. FM is more powerful even before. Because it does a similar thing, but they have more modulation sources and more tools to work with. Rob Poppin also has, let's see, Rob Poppin. He has Blue, which is his FM synthesizer. And he has, if you get to the algorithm page here, you'll see he has a similar page that can show you different algorithm configurations and how he's routing the sound through different elements. So FM is still a wonderful form of synthesis. Doing all sorts of crazy, fun sounds and so forth. So those are the 7 libraries that are on sale for $20. And I'll just let them all stay on sale until Monday, okay? So you have until Monday night to pick them up if you don't have any of those guys. Also, just so we know, the lessons that I did for Unify, the video tutorials are available at their introductory price. That ends Sunday night, so we'll keep that at Sunday night. But the $20 libraries, Toxic FM, is like, today is Mega Magic Guitars, tomorrow is Saber 5 from Tim, and Monday is FM8. And I'll send out an email. I'm glad people are unsubscribing. Some people are unsubscribing. It saves me money on my MailChimp bill. So feel free to unsubscribe if you don't want email from me. It's fine. I don't have a huge customer base. The customers I have, though, are awesome. What version of Vital do I need for the 80s library? Go to the vital.audio website and get the latest version. It's Apparillo, yes. There's a number of different companies have made their attempts at FM synthesis. They seem to have gotten caught. Yeah, a little bit. All right, I think we're going to wrap up here. If you guys have any questions, ask them in the thread. If you have any tech support problems, any questions on anything related to anything we sell, unifysupport@pluginguru.com is our email address. Taylor is there to help out. If I don't see it, he's on top of it. He's doing great there. If you go to the vital.audio, we put on the, if I go to the website for our website, and if you go to the Back to the 80s libraries products, that is from, where is he at? Modern Cinema, Back to the 80s. If you go, Vital version 1.5.5 required for this library to work. So you can click, there's a link to go to Vital to get the latest version. So we try to help you out there. It's put right on the front of the page. So there you go. I think I have 1.07. Yeah, you have an old version. Update. All right, thank you all for joining. Shout out from Boise, let's see, shout out from Eagle, Idaho. I'm so glad we got audio working. The audio in the room isn't great yet. Excuse me on that. But we're up and running, so that's great. Yay! Thank you, Misho. Big Dave Music, good to see you guys. Thank you all for hanging around with us. It's great to see you all. Thank you. And yeah, lots of fun things in the works. I have a really fun project in the works for my June birthday library. Also, there are, I believe, 7 libraries released in June that have come out. So get ready at the end of June, the last week of June. I'll do each day special sale price for each one celebrating its birthday. It gives me a chance to revisit each of these libraries, write a little special something about them. I get to kind of reminisce on these, remember what I was thinking about, why this library came out when I did these back in the day. It's really, really fun. Arizona, raining in Germany, Japan, Kasaka-san, domo arigatou gozaimashita. Otsukare-sama deshita. Thank you all. Thank you. Heavy rain in Germany. Wow. Yeah, I've been hearing about flooding in some of the countries. So stay safe wherever you are and be creative. Have a wonderful week. Take advantage of these sales if you want to save some money on lots of libraries, because we got 7 of them at $20 and 40% off everything else. Only UniFi isn't involved in the sale because it's always on sale at $59, which is a steal. Hey, Tony, right on, man. Thank you. You'll have fun. It's a really fun library. And the UniFi version is very fun because you can go just to the drums by themselves, start with one of the BPM patches, give it a second to load, and then go over here and say in just UniFi 1 only. This allows you to just load the UniFi 1 layer because that's all these patches are nothing but a single layer. So just click. Here's a boom. Let's get another kick in there as well. Let's get some mid stuff happening. And then let's go get some high stuff happening for more shakers and Dettelvale hi-hat. So this is, where are we at to? We're like 9 layers. So this one has got a swing on it. So let's do this. And this one's also got a swing on it. So let's say no thank you and no thank you. So you can make new grooves just by clicking single patches. And then like that big thud that hits, let's see, that's right here. Let's put a pump house on that really quick. So dynamics, pump house, reverse this. Let's say 8th notes. And that's just to give it a little bit more low thud. Let's go EQ and add a loudness. And then there's another low for a kick. That sounds good. And this one here also needs a pump house, so we'll go over here and say dynamics pump house. Let's call from presets. Just go presets. It's like yeah, so you can play around with the things and find all sorts of new groove elements to add to existing productions, stuff like that. And when he gets yes. I'll stop there. I'll stop there. I have to head to my mom and dad's house. They're having a little party. I want to join them. So, oh, dude, machine strum. Thank you. Hands together. Head bowed. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week for another live stream. Maybe some of the companies will start bringing out some new things for us to play at and look at new things and stuff like that. I got to do more work. I've got some bare walls, right? So you can't have bare walls. You can't have bare walls. But so thank you again. Good to see you all, and we'll see you next week, all right? Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye. And say stop.